Hello, my fellow YouTubers. We're here announcing some breaking news. Uh, Bernie and Tulsi are going to run for 2020, the presidency. I think this is great news. At least we get something new to the mix. Uh, a new taste for other types of freedoms, like, let's say, gun control. Uh, this will be this will help people uh, with their children. Take them to school. Don't have to worry about the gun legislation and you know more control over gun safety because of what the Republicans did with the mental health funding. They cut it off, and they gave the full rights of freedoms to people with mental disabilities. And this is one reason why you see a lot of crazy people out on the street trying to talk to you or doing whatever it is they do. That's the Republicans doing. You know, with Democrats, we will have funding and they will be taken care of, which this is what we want. I mean, people, the thing about it is that you want people with mental disabilities to be taken care of because they can't take care of themselves. And if not, they can do some really bad damage and not feel a thing. That's something that a lot of people fear. Somebody who can't stop and doesn't have feelings to stop. I'm not saying they're all like that. It's just they need help. Now, okay, Sanders and Gabbard are gonna run, and this is gonna be explosive because without them, if it wasn't for Bernie, uh, not even the other progressives that ran, like what's her name? She was in the DNC. Well, many of them wouldn't be able to split their votes because when they were running, they they themselves were in bed with Hillary, and what was happening was they were splitting the votes to where a candidate gets most of the votes, and then the other candidate gets like half of the votes, and so he that those persons in the lead won't be able to beat somebody else uh, in another place to actually be pulled up. So that's not right. That's what they were saying Hillary was doing when she was going against Sanders for the nomination. Everybody supports Sanders. Not a lot of people support Hillary, but they forced Hillary onto that. No, she forced everybody into that, and that's where they spited her. Even independents didn't like that. They ended up spiting Hillary and voting for Trump. That's how he got elected. He got elected with Democratic help. If it wasn't for that Democratic help, it would have been a landslide for Sanders. He could have won. You can even ask these Republicans that are talking about, oh, Trump is going to win in 2020. Yeah, we're going to throw a party. You can ask them that they would say Bernie would have won. And he would have won if it wasn't for that Hillary mess that she was doing. She was just so stubborn on trying to win. Uh, and I think the Democrats knew exactly what they were doing when when Russia came in to help because and they're clever. They're clever on doing this. It hasn't been anything out of the ordinary for the Democrats to be this corrupt. Um, they, you know, they didn't. If anything, you can't say that the Democrats were colluding with Russia because if anything, they were in feud. They even this feud got so corroded that Russia ended up kicking out the American astronauts out of the satellite where they were at because it was Americans and Russians, and when they were having a feud over here, nobody could stand each other up there, so they had to take them down. This is how bad it got. So you can't say, and if anything, we're gonna go to war with Russia over Syria. You know what I mean? Like you can't say they were helping. You know, the Americans, we are the superpower. We will maintain superpower, and there's always going to be funding for war. This is how the United States runs. In history, when the country is always in collapse, like the Roaring Twenties, what happened to elevate this country? There had to be a war. They had to be manufacturing the weapons, and then they had to be released. And the United States had to build those contractors to go there and rebuild, and the United States get paid from the war. Even the WWE was war profiteering. They knew what that they have entertainment. They would go over there when there was rubble, and they would get paid. Commercializing. You can look this up. But this presidential run is it's history because it's already in the works. Uh, as long as Hillary doesn't get involved, because if she runs and then the Democratic National Convention got her back, this is gonna be. If she runs, Donald Trump is gonna win again, and that's not what we want. That's not what the history books have. Do we want somebody who? Do you want your kids to talk like Trump, to treat women like Trump, to elevate themselves and look at him as a role model, or do you want them to be like Obama, who himself is a community organizer, who helps the poor? I'm not saying he did it the right way, but I'm saying in most of his habits, do you want them to look at him as a leader, as in leadership qualities, in the way he funds programs? I'm not saying he's a socialist. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying, do you want a badmouth the president as a leader, or do you want somebody like Obama who actually he's not politically correct, nothing like that. He just says it how it is, and he finds benefit in everything that he does, even if he's a deporter in chief. When he was a deporter in chief, even the Republicans themselves didn't even find him as a leader. But now, which is weird that Donald Trump is doing it, he himself is classified as somebody who's a democratic socialist radical left because of people say, well, what he wrote about DACA and stuff or whatever. You know, big whoop. The Democrats are going to landslide this, take it, uh, and anything that would come out of Sanders' mouth would scare Trump because he knows that the threat of him becoming president, because he thinks he's a socialist like Maduro, like Venezuela. No, it's not like that. It just a democratic socialist person means there's going to be funding in the right places. We're going to be taxing people who make enough money, and I mean, if you ask people, they don't mind paying higher taxes so their subordinate citizens can have Medicare, Medicaid. Even California's rolling out Medicaid for undocumented young immigrants, and which this is great because the young immigrants are the future of America. They will shape America. Even the young Americans know this, and together we are stronger. Like in California, there's scholarships for young undocumented immigrants who are unprivileged, but they know what's up. They become scientists. They become herbologists, and of course they make California great. I mean, California is the second largest economy in the world, and that's the reason why. And I do support some of their socialist agenda to take care and not let ICE in. Like, who does that? Who goes into a courtroom and takes away an illegal immigrant from justice? Even the judges are against that. Like, they'll arrest ICE over there. Like, that's how bad it is. But here in Texas, even though we're a Republican, red state, um, we fund young undocumented immigrants because that's who we are as a country. As a country, we are supposed to survive together, be strong together. And you can ask people around here, they love them because, uh, first they don't commit crimes like how Trump said, because if they commit crimes, they get deported automatically. They work hard, they don't complain. They come to work, they have families of Americans, and and they build businesses. That's how it is. This is the American way, the American life, and if you can do things once, you won't have to do them again. Now, Tulsi and Sanders are running. This means that if Trump survives these trials, he has something big to worry about. He has the progressives. He has the Democratic Socialists. He has the radical left in a panic mode. This means they already learned their lesson throughout these 4 years that they shouldn't be voting in spite of somebody, the lesser of two evils. It's not supposed to be like that. Um, we should examine what's gonna go down. You should look exactly at the post body language of Donald Trump. It'll tell you a lot if he's feeling threatened or he's doing this and that. Because if anything is a national emergency, is that he's under investigation of an indictment, and at any moment, because the Democrats are in control of the House, they're the ones who build the bills, and they're the ones who are with that. At any moment, they can change the Constitution, and you know why I say this is because now they're gonna oust McConnell, who is who always who isn't constitutional because he says that he's not going to send any bill to the president. And the way this really works is by not him blocking anything and letting the president either veto, which is a natural thing. After he vetoes a bill, that comes back to Congress, and then if 2/3 vote in favor of it, it becomes law. That's how this works. And this is what he's afraid of. Don't get me wrong. He knows that Democratic Socialists have, and there will be funding passed. He just doesn't want to pass it because he knows that the government shutdown he's trying to get benefit for the Republican radical right, the neo Republicans, if you would say. Now, whether he does it or not, or he continues with this bad behavior, people are looking at him. He's going to extinguish the rest of the Republicans. And it's going to be a landslide for Democrats when they vote in people in the next 4 years, 2 years. Or who knows, maybe they're going to be indicted because a lot of Republicans are going to jail. Who knows, man? They've been corrupt. They've been doing that. Even the which I'm going to write on another video, the FBI opened an investigation on Trump, separate from all the other 12 cases that already been opened. That the inquiry that they know that he's working with the Russians and benefit, that's high treason right there. By any moment, anything can happen. And you can feel it on Trump when he's talking, that he's feeling the pressure of all these investigations. Now, this presidential run by Tulsi, it'll make justice for those 4 years. Anything and everything he did, which Trump did, is going to get extinguished. We're talking about incentives for the rich people that already backstabbed Trump, like General Motors. He gave them tax credits, this and that, and they got away. If it wasn't for that, companies wouldn't be living out because now that they got money, now they want to steal money from the actual other countries. Big news. Um, big news for those people who didn't know that was going on. That's why jobs are leaving and can't do much about it. tell me your thoughts. So you guys think this presidential run is good? Is it a good matchup, or should he get matched up with somebody better? What do you guys think? Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs down. I mean, I don't care. Peace out.